Welcome to this edition of the Your Weekly Dose of Nonprofit podcast, the podcast that delivers actionable items you can implement at your organization right away. I'm your host, Ephraim Gopin of 1832 Communications. Today, I'm really happy to have with us one of the nonprofit sector's top smarties, my friend Mary Cahalane. Mary, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good. Let's introduce you to our listeners, watchers, and readers. Mary is the principal of Hands-On Fundraising, a Connecticut-based firm. After more than 30 years in the nonprofit world, Mary still approaches her work hands-on. She's a consultant, copywriter, and blogger. Mary helps organizations put donors at the center of their fundraising with effective donor communications and smart planning. Learn more about Mary and the work that she does on her website, mcahalane.com. In today's episode, we're going to discuss building lasting relationships. So let's dive right in. Mary, why is the nonprofit sector retention rate hovered around 40% for so long?
I think we're paying way too much attention to getting donors and not nearly the same kind of attention and care to keeping donors. It's sort of all about the chase and not about that sort of daily work of sustaining those relationships. Too much getting the conquest, getting that gift in, and not enough time and focus on all the stewardship work that is usually seen as less important, but really is the key. You know, with retention rates like that, you're just watching money go in one side and go out the other of a revolving door.
Yes, absolutely. So, given that answer, let's look at today's actionable item. Could you please tell us 3 things we should all be doing to build relationships and strengthen the trust we have with our current donors?
Yes, I can. First, thank your donors well. And this is a funny one where oftentimes the small organizations do this better than the big, large international and national organizations do. So if you're a smaller organization, this is where you can really shine. They shouldn't sound like corporate communications. They shouldn't sound like formal letters. These are heartfelt, emotional, gushy even ways of showing your donors they matter. So don't hold back on the emotion. Tell donors that they're really important. Thank them effusively, and don't thank them just once in that thank you letter that they get after their gift. Keep thanking them all the way along. Keep showing them they matter to you. Then mystifies me. My favorite way to do this are donor newsletters, print newsletters, and they're kind of fundraising magic because they can hit thanking donors, they can hit reporting back to donors on what their gift made possible, and they're a chance to ask again in a soft, gentle way that doesn't even feel like an ask to donors. So work one of those into your communication calendar, because done right, they're wonderful ways to let donors know that you're doing with their money what they told you, what you told them you would be doing with their money. And so often that step is missed, and that's where you really build the trust. You know, I was supposed to be saving the penguins and you're writing to me about the giraffes. What's this about? You know, it really has to tie right back to what you asked the money for. And thirdly, feedback. Ask what donors think and really actually care what they think. Don't create feedback just because you're supposed to do it on your checklist. But if you want to really know your donors and keep them, there's got to be something of a two-way conversation going on. So build feedback in wherever you can. You can build it in on the tech side of things with, you know, little questions as people visit your website about the user experience there. You can do donor surveys for your donors. You can do those in a print survey, or you can sprinkle questions every time you send an email, asking them a little bit more about what they think. Don't just focus on sort of demographic info, and you know, there's probably things you'd love to know, like what's your net worth, that you're not gonna ask. But find out find out what they think, find out what matters to them, what they care about, why they gave. That's my favorite question of all. If you're talking to donors in person or on the phone or even, written communication, what made you want to give? It's golden. Knowing that from a bunch of donors, they're there. You've just got your communication strategy pointed in the right direction.
Yep, that feedback is critical, and so many nonprofits just kind of pass it over or fail to do that because they might not want to hear the answers. But totally.
But even bad comments are coming from people who care enough to share bad comments, so they care.
Correct. It's gold. Gold.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's really good stuff.
So you just mentioned surveys, which is a good one. What are some of the other ways we can get to know our donors better?
Well, as I said, build that feedback in. Don't make it just a one-shot, we're going to ask you everything you want to know all at once kind of thing. Build it in as you go every time you're communicating. Actually do get to know them. Call donors, talk to donors. You don't have to have a gift in hand within the last week in order to have the right to give them a call and ask how they're doing, especially right now, how they're doing, what you can do for them. And once we're able to do this again, events are a great way. Thank you events, not pay a ticket events, but just casual, come over to the office for a tour, or we're going to get a bunch of donors together and just have a little speaker about our mission or something. Just a place where you can one-on-one communicate with your donors and get to know them. We talk about relationship building a lot, but as long as we're keeping it only at a distance, we're missing the most important part of that relationship building.
Correct.
So anything you can do to bridge that is good.
All right. So since you talked about relationship building, if we're talking about tactics around relationship building, do foundation partners differ from individual donors? And if yes, how?
So, their decision-making process is obviously more complicated than an individual donors, right? If I want to write a check to somebody, I can just do it. But the thing to keep in mind, I think, and it's easy to forget, is institutions, corporations, foundations are run by human beings. And those human-to-human relationships still matter. Yes, you'll have to go through prescribed steps. You'll have to fill out forms, you'll have to fit certain qualifications. But if you've got that relationship, you're much more likely to get the information you need to do better when you're making a grant application. You'll know better what their interests are in funding, and be able to pick up the phone and call and ask. We're thinking of doing this. Would this be possible? It all really comes down to personal relationships.
Which is why we've got you here telling us how to build those up. Now, besides knowing how to build relationships, you are a fantastic copywriter. What do you make sure every direct mail piece includes?
Oh, that's a great question. Depending on what it's for. So talking about an appeal, a really direct ask, a really clear idea of why and what you're asking for. But if we're talking in the more broad sense, humanity, stop trying to appear official and perfect. Some human emotion and even human flaws and feelings especially are okay. It's okay to be a human being writing to another human being. You don't have to make yourself look polished and glossy. Real does better. Sincere is better than fancy.
Sincere is better. Totally agree. Let's move on to the lightning round and learn a little bit more about you. What got you started on your nonprofit career path?
from young childhood, was a performing theater, desperately wanted to be a ballerina when I was little. Singer, dancer, yeah, triple threat, baby. Continued through college, did some summer stock, did some theater after college, and had a stupid, awful job in New York City that was just pointless. And when my now husband decided he was going to go to law school and moved to DC, asked me to come, and I did. And I found a job in a theater. You mean like I could have that as a job? Wow. So I started in the box office at Arena Stage, which is one of the country's biggest regional theaters. Meant I got to work there while Zelda Fitchandler and Tom Fitchandler were still there, the sort of the founders, giants in that field. Quickly, moved up to run the box office. So, and in my mid-20s, I had 30 full-time people reported to me. Wow. What were they thinking? But it was a great experience. Left no time to do theater, but I saw some amazing stuff, and that got me started in the nonprofit world. And when we moved to Connecticut and I was looking for jobs, the regional theater up here had a development spot open, an entry level for that. So I started back at the beginning again. And within a few weeks, the development director left. And I was the only other development staff person. So the marketing director and I learned how to do it.
Fantastic.
We just called everybody else in the country and asked them what they were doing, got a consultant for a little while, and together we made it work. And we learned, which is really a fabulous experience in that way.
I love that story.
So it just kind of, we didn't have to unlearn the bad stuff, because we were just figuring it out as we went.
Oh man, that's the best. If you don't have to unlearn stuff, that's the best position to be in. If you could shake up one thing in the nonprofit world, what would it be?
Oh, there's so many. I'm sorry. Let's see. Well, since this is my sort of special love and area, could we please stop communicating so poorly and so infrequently? Just be human, please. I open the mail, and what I see coming through the mail at my house just makes me want to cry most days. It's just so organization focused and formal, and let me give you all the rational arguments for why you should send us money, and none of those things work. Lead with emotion.
Just listen to Mary. The gold, absolute gold, exactly what you just said. Just listen to that and then start writing based on that, and you'll do much, much better.
Yeah.
What was the first concert you ever attended?
Okay, well, it comes down to really, really close, and I cannot figure out or even research which was first. But it was either Seals and Crofts at Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey, or Jackson Browne at the Garden State Arts Center. And I'm going to go with Jackson Browne because that one was kind of cool, because it was the Running on Empty tour, which was recorded, like it was a live album, most of it. And it was the song The Road on that album was recorded half in California and half in New Jersey. And between the two halves in the recording, you hear 3 screams. And that was me and 2 of my friends, because the darn audience all they did the whole night was, "Doctor, my eyes." They didn't want to hear any of the new stuff. And we were tired of them being so quiet and unappreciative. So we screamed back from the lawn seats. And you can hear each of us 1, 2, 3 right in the middle of the song. So if you've got Running on Empty around, go to the road right in the middle when they switch. And you can hear 3 teenage girls screaming, and one of them was me.
You're famous, Mary.
There you go. Brushes with greatness, right?
Amazing. You're very active on Twitter. 3 words you'd use to describe that platform.
Connecting so many amazing people, so many friends from Twitter. It really is just a wonder. informative. You know, you want to learn things and zip through your feed a few times a day. And there's just a world of good information there if you know where to look. And addictive.
Yeah.
I can't stop.
Yes.
There's that part.
Yes, there is. Your favorite thing about living in my home state of Connecticut?
Well, it's not too crowded yet compared to my home state of New Jersey. There's still lots of green space and open areas, which is very nice. Made it a nice place to raise our kids. And if you live in the middle of the state, as we do, you can pretty much get around the state in an hour. It's, you know, you can get your arms around the place. But probably the thing the most is it's not too far from New Jersey and my beloved beaches. My heart's still there.
It's all good. The important stuff in life. Let's turn the table. You can ask me a surprise question. I have no clue what's coming. Go ahead.
So early on, when we got to know each other, we bonded over 80s music and your love for the same. But I was wondering, what's your favorite guilty secret 80s song that you don't want to tell anybody about?
You know, wow, because I now have to go through this Rolodex of hundreds of songs that are guilty pleasures that if I were to say out loud, I listen to them. You know what? Even the soft rock songs, there's a song by Carl Anderson and Gloria. Wow, I can't believe I'm totally blanking on her last name now, called Friends and Lovers. Now, it is a slow song. It's a duet. She was a star on the soap opera Days of Our Lives for a bunch of years. Yeah, no, I had watched Days of Our Lives when I was a kid. Gloria, forget it. I'm never going to remember. But that's one of the songs. No, it's all good. That's one of those songs that, you know what? Everybody's going to be like, oh my God, you listen to that? And I'm like, yeah, I listened to that. Now look, the same could be said about Toto's I Bless the Rains Down in Africa.
Right?
Yeah, but everybody who listens to it is like, that's the worst song. But if there's a guilty pleasure, that song is really, really it. And I'm fascinated with that song. I happen to
Try
love
to get that out of your brain. You can't, right?
Yeah, no, you cannot. That's why I'm just fascinated with it, because it's just a really bad song, but it's a really great song all at the same time. So yeah, if that's considered, I don't know if that's considered a guilty pleasure, but we could go with either one of those songs. But yes, there's the Rolodex of guilty pleasure 80 songs. Oh my God, that's huge. There's no end. But it's okay. I'm not. I would take a lot of flack for some of the songs that I would say, but I wouldn't care. It's 80s.
No.
It's what I grew up with. I'm happy with it. It makes me happy.
I can do the 70s too. If we put on one of those 70s stations, my kid has to remember the way I do, because I just always had music on. But you know, the stupidest pop song from '73 will come on, and I will sing right along. I got it. I know it.
Yep. So you know what? Those memories, those songs, the lyrics, they're never going to go away. The songs you learned as a kid and as a teen, those songs aren't going away, ever.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, my brain might not have capacity for anything else, but throw me the odd 80s song and I will start rambling off the lyrics from start to finish without a problem. Thank you very, very much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Learned so much. And I encourage everybody to follow Mary on Twitter, to subscribe to her hands-on fundraising blog, which is an excellent, excellent blog, and to engage her, because Mary loves talking shop and she's always happy to help people. Thank you very much for appearing on the podcast. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.